Hey guys, how's it going? It is September 19th, 2022. And this could be the last stream for a while. I don't know. I keep saying that. It's a bad habit that I need to end. It really is. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. I do have some news though, and I will. I might as well start off by showing you something. Now, this was provided to me. It's legitimate. I could probably do it. I'm not saying that I can, but I can also show you. Well, I'm not going to show you ways on how to do it, but it's something that's there. Let's just keep it at that, and I will show you what I found. So, this is my thumbnail for tonight. Now, as you can see, this looks very familiar to a simulator we know and love. And the region is NS Gulf Coast region. And it's the NS AGS South route. Assuming there's a south and a north, I don't know. We don't know that. Run 8's been good at putting Easter eggs, but I don't know if this was one that was supposed to be found. Because, what I mean by Easter eggs, I think what they do is they have a testing environment. Now, this is totally public. This is nothing NDA or any of that other bullshit because I don't know nothing, okay? But what I can figure out, or at least try to theorize here, just by what's here and what's there, I don't know, is the files that they use for testing or something like that somehow is part of the live copy, I guess, if that makes sense. I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea how they do things, or I mean, this is just guessing. If I was to go into a directory and let's see here, I think it was HR Southeast. If I was to go into, where the hell was it? Let me just see if I can remember. Is it terrain textures? No, that ain't it. I don't think that's it. No, that's definitely not it. So I am in roots. Vegetation textures. Okay, I think this is where it's at right now. So there's all kinds of files, right? There's files that people used to have access to that they could play around with and find different things. But if you go into that directory, you'll see that file right there. There's other ones too. Spokane, for example, I don't know what the hell that is. That could be something. Spokane, Washington. Penn corridor, I don't know. How you do this, as far as there's ways of making that pop up, and somehow that was popping up. And I was like, oh, that's neat. So I just leave that out there. There's stuff out there, um, and I don't think that's necessarily an Easter egg necessarily, but there's stuff out there. We kind of, you know, I knew about what you could find in not Seligman. I knew what was out there if you explored far enough to see the oh God, what the hell's the damn route? The one that's going on or taking place. I'm gonna go into the chat here. There was a what is the route? Fitzgerald sub. So if you go far, and I've done this in a live stream, you just keep going, and you can find out. You can hop all over the place and find all kinds of things. Well, the same thing happens in Northern California. The I think as far as Run 8, and you know, they run their business, do whatever they want, right? As fans, we people want to know. We're not. I don't think this is done maliciously or done out of spite or done to you know, try to get scoops or whatever. But when I saw that, and I I've understand Spokane could be something else, and Penn Corridor and all that other stuff. For me personally, the one thing that I've been asking or trying to figure out is, are we going to get a smaller region? Well, that particular route is pretty big, and considering that it says south, it's oh God, I can't remember the name of it. If you look it up, you'll find out. It's runs in Tennessee and Mississippi or something like that. It's a pretty long ass route, and as it's like 200 some odd miles. So it's a traditional big region. Norfolk Southern has the rights. It's old Alabama Gulf something or other. I can't remember the name of it. AGS. If you look it up on Wikipedia, you'll find it. You look at AGS Railroad or whatever. I think it was AGS. I think that was the one. What was it? Yeah, AGS. You look on AGS, you'll find it. Ah, hey, Quincy. AGS has both a north and south division. Oh, that's interesting. So apparently this could be the south division. Or it could be the southern section. Because the reason why I say that is Seligman is got Seligman West and Seligman East. Now they're, they can go in many different directions, especially now that they've, there's no reason to think that there's any ideas of version 4, considering version 3 it's a pretty damn good version, actually. Bakersfield, Northern California to Sacramento. Meh. Northern California to Sacramento. I don't know. Whatever the case may be, is there's obviously, I mean, it's no doubt in my mind they, when they say regions were coming, that there was going to be more regions coming. Hey Bob, how's it going? So I guess we'll have to wait and see, but I'm still in a limbo spot for me personally. Um, I'll tell you, there's been times where I've wanted to just give in and just say, just I was going to actually take run 8 and I was just going to run trains. I was just going to run it with dispatch, not worry about operations, and just run trains for the fun of it. But I remembered, and I was going to do that, but then I remembered after a while how boring it was. Like even after having the meets and all that other stuff, it gets really boring without a purpose, at least for me. And I know that's not for everybody, and um, I'm not trying to say how people should think or how people should run their simulators or do whatever. Um, Old Chicago Northwestern line in Chicago. What's the old Chicago Northwestern line in Chicago? I don't know what that is. There was something that was supposed to have come out that was Chicago a long time ago, but that was ran by somebody or whatever. I remember there was a lot of plans in place. It was already, well underway, but then something happened. I don't know what happened, but I don't know if it was personal issues or whatever. Man, this internet sucks. Goes back and forth. But regardless, I mean, there's nothing. Okay. What? That's stuff that's coming. Well, I don't know if I mean what I'm seeing there to me is definitely something that they're either working on or who knows what. Beats the hell out of me, but we don't know. Nobody knows except the team and the people that are doing it. So uh, I was hoping to see a Canadian route in there, but I was hoping to see I was hoping to see like BC or Kicking Horse Pass or something like that. I was just like that would have been really cool, but yeah, yeah, that's what I would have done. There was a time where I was thinking about doing Roseville, and I was thinking, I can make a go of Roseville. It was a little bit too big for my liking, and I don't like double track, but I was gonna give in, and then I was just like, nah, one of these days they'll connect it. But nah. And I mean, it's great if they, I suppose it's great, if they connect everything and do whatever. I could run something and just do a small region. That's the one option I always have. Um, and for somebody who's saying, I want to have something that I can run single player, why would it matter what other people want? Because I could go run whatever the hell I want, right? Theoretically. But we know now that Waycross can't be done. Could I do it somewhere else? In theory, yeah. I suppose I could. I haven't really come up with an idea. I was thinking of doing Mojave, to be honest. There's something. I'm not doing anything for the rest of the year, which kind of sucks because I don't want to burn out what I'm doing with the what do you call it, Medieval Dynasty. And lately I've been doing quite a bit of it, so I noticed the bad habit was starting to form, and I was like, okay, so I'm sticking to my guns that I wasn't going to do any Run 8, or I wasn't going to do any train simulator because I posted it on some forum. So I'm basically stubborn, and I won't give in to that, or at least I'm trying not to give in to that because yet another distraction. It's also procrastination because ultimately I do have dreams and ideas. Unfortunately, I always find a way to, a lot of those dreams that I have, it's not easy. It's no matter how, even the easiest way that I go about doing it, there's no easy way to do it. And I get excited at first, and I think to myself, yeah, I can do this, because I don't think of the negative things. I don't have time to dwell on it. But then, as time goes on, I become more pessimistic towards it. I find ways of making it fail. I find ways before, to derail it before it even begins. Um, and I don't do that on purpose, because I can tell you right now, there are times where I just look forward, and I know to hold back a little bit. Like, for example, um, like Run 8 I've done off and on for 10 years, but that's a long time. That's a big chunk of your life that you've dedicated towards it. I also feel very um, grateful to those who have subscribed to me, those who follow me, those that get the notifications and come on. I have over 800 subscribers now. I'm so close to that 1,000 mark, and I know if I just give in and do Run 8, I could probably hit 1,000. I could just keep on going and going and going, and I could probably get it, but deep down inside, I'm not enjoying it like I once was. So I know what I want out of Run 8, but I can't get it out of Run 8 at this point. So that's kind of the dilemma I'm at right now, and it's kind of a recurring thing. So also, starting to talk about forums and all that other garbage. I mean, there's people who have certainly have a point of, like, who cares what other people think? And it's like, yeah, well, true to a certain degree, and I agree in general that is good. But when you're trying to gain subscribers, or you're trying to have positive and meaningful content. I looked at the recent videos that I have, and it looks like I'm just like lost. And it's just like, no, I don't want to be there. I want to start pumping out content. The problem is, if I put out Medieval Dynasty, I'm not going to get the views, and I'm not going to get the interest. Now, could I get another audience? Yeah, sure. But what am I doing to those 800 subscribers who followed me all along? Now, I'm not. The funny thing is, not all those 800 subscribers actually subscribe because of Run 8. They subscribe for other things too. I haven't always covered Run 8. I've covered other things. There's people who. There was a time where I was doing train stuff. I got subscribers during that time. I think it's easy to subscribe, but it's a lot of people don't unsubscribe unless they're, really, they want to clean up their things. Because the way the YouTube algorithm works is it will, like, I have so many subscriptions out there. The way the YouTube algorithm works is if you stop watching a certain or a person's channel, just because you subscribe doesn't mean you're getting notifications. It has nothing to do with it. Subscribe just means, okay, you are going to have access to the latest videos by going through a menu. That's all it means. It really doesn't mean anything else. So, but anyways, let me read some of the comments here before I go. Was looking forward to Alaska. I don't see anything about Alaska that I'm aware of, but who knows? Uh, oh, Chattanooga to Louisville. Okay. Okay. International limited route. Yeah, yeah. The AGS. There's all kinds of info on the AGS, and I say who knows what else is coming. It's kind of weird because I look at Railroader is yeah, a lot of this is based. Honestly, this is a lot of this is based on what's happening with Railroader, and we don't really know everything. We know 2023, but 2023 is a long year. I don't know if it's going to come right away. I hope the hell it comes pretty much at the beginning of the year in 2023. Um, I would hope. I mean, if it's gonna pop up, like I hope the sooner the better because who knows what's going to happen. And I mean, I can try to go back on what I was saying and do something and then just try to pump up the channel. The reason why I stopped doing what I was doing though, specifically, was because there was a lot of work involved, and I was testing out something. I was trying to get a server back up, and I was hoping to have a server for at least the fall, and possibly even longer running in parallel with Railroader. And then I found out that because that's the choke point and I wasn't able to maintain it, it was going to be tough. Um, I'll have to think. I'll have to think long and hard about some of the other routes that are out there. I know Scott was saying Bakersfield. He thinks that that's one that I would like. Um, and I mean, if I look at Bakersfield for a minute, let me just go into our old friends at Run 8 Depot here for a second. I've been. Oh, is it the Depot? The Depot server? Oh yeah, there we go. Um, let us go into Bakersfield sub. So all flat switching thus far. A little double track section. Um, okay. Yeah, well, Scott might have a point. Now that I look at that a little bit more. So there's an intermodal wrap at Calwa. There's those industry pages. Fresno. He keeps telling me that now, of course, I would only operate between here and probably Bakersfield Yard and have a staging set just out of there for Bakersfield, for trains coming through Bakersfield. And but that's interesting. To me, it still looks like a lot of I don't know if one person can do that in 24 hours. What do you think? Has anybody tried that? Can one person do that in 24 hours? Like, seriously. And what I'm looking at, this is the reason why I say that that's the goal, and I haven't really talked to Scott about this one either, um, is if one person can do that in 24 hours, is it possible? The reason why I keep going back and forth to it is because, okay, I can. Am I fairly confident I can do a train sim, not a train sim world? Uh, God. Um, like a freight yard manager type software. And I was really, honestly, I was really, really excited when I saw the XML. I got overly, like, I just, right away, I was just like, oh crap. Of course, I go on Train Sim and I spill my guts and all the rest and get all excited. And, that opened up its own can of worms with people that, you know, now you look at the forum, it's about as dead as my forum, so, which is pretty dead. Um, but I want to know, Scott. Let me see here. Scott, tell me this: can you switch? You say Bakersfield. Can you reasonably believe that I can switch within 24 working hours? And what I mean by that is if I started the clock at say midnight and ran all the. Now, I'm not talking about the mainline trains specifically. I'm talking about all the local switching. Because there's obviously, I don't have to worry about humps or all that. To be able to do a day's worth of operations, whether it's assisted with AI, because obviously I can do that, like for some of the movements and whatever. I would much rather be able to run the locals or the regionals or whatever that deal with it on a A to B basis and whatever setouts are required at say Kawa or whatever, and do those as well. But which makes it interesting because if I was to try and do a server in that respect, I could run it and possibly do it that way. Because what's happening right now, actually Emmett, he's getting a little burnt out, so he's switching out ATS in his time, and he's starting to get back into ATS again, as opposed to Medieval Dynasty. I still do Medieval Dynasty, pretty much on a daily basis, and what I'm finding is in the evenings after he goes upstairs, I don't I don't have it in me to continue to do Medieval Dynasty because I don't want to burn myself out in it. So I kind of back it off a bit. I mean, I don't mind doing some, but I don't want to overdo it. So I back off. And whereas Run 8, I don't want it to be a job. I don't want it to be a job. I want it to be enjoyable. I would love to have a server going. I would love to be able to run at certain specific times and have people on. But I'm also very much looking forward to Railroader because I think it deserves an honest look at. So those are, I mean, Run 8's got its benefits. Railroader has its benefits. So depends on what style local arrangements you want to make. Going by my last real employer, we switched all industries to one side of Maine, one direction. Oh, okay, so yeah, you go to the facing points and then to the trailing points. I don't know what those. I don't know what the trains actually run, and now honestly, it doesn't really matter necessarily how the real locals run, because I can certainly I can certainly play around with a little bit of modeler's license or what have you. Um, I find it much easier to run, like, I mean, to do the ones in one direction. I don't know if that's how they work that line. Do they run actual physical turns from both ends, or do they actually run uh, local trains that run from one end to the other, from one way, and then do one end to the other on the other way, and generally work trailing points so they're not. Let me just see that map again. Um, Obviously, there's a lot of places to turn around. There's various storage areas or whatever. I don't know how much are done by local industries. That's the other thing you can do, is you can utilize local industries to do certain things. And um, I haven't really looked into the industry file so much on this. See, there's a lot of places where I can see them doing runarounds. I see a lot, for example, between 995. I don't know. It's really spread out, huh? Like, this is one I could see being run from Bakersfield. So if it was to run, say, so we got mile 894. Let me just think about that for a bit. So about 100 miles. I could see some turns and maybe some other. Yeah, like you said, it depends on how you want to do it, I suppose. Oh, sorry, Quincy. I was ignoring your post here. How much will they actually cover? It could end up being small. Calwa is really not that bad at all. It's 3 tracks in some spots, then down to 2, then 1. The original Bakersfield sub starts at Gomez, coming from Calwa. Yeah, I do it all the time, and um, I'm handling it in single player. There are only 40 industries, which is a walk in the park. Depends on what style. Switched other industries from the other direction upon our return. Some days not so switching, just A-B type, yeah. So are those, Quincy, are those locals? Well, actually, no. The industry files will specify. They should, anyways. So then I can get a pretty good idea as to how things go from there. Okay, so there's 4 locals total. But you can do it in 24 hours, huh? Maybe I'll get it. I might give in. So has SJVR run out of? It takes work, but it can be done. Okay. See, and this is where I'm reluctant. I'll say where I'm reluctant onto it. I know it's only 40 industries and it takes work, but it can be done. Obviously, it's built for more than, well, it's built for local crews, obviously, who, run their tours and whatever. By the sounds of it, it's more built for probably, if there's four locals, then it could easily be handled by two people. I'm almost certain of that. So one's pushing it, two can be done. Believe it or not, I'm one who doesn't like to run a lot of locals. I enjoy running main lines too. It's just if I'm running main lines with no purpose, then it's it kind of defeats. It takes away the well, a lot of things take away from the whole feeling of being immersed into it. The one thing I found was the trains being cookie cutter, especially a lot of the AI trains being cookie cutter. Seeing pretty much the same type of trains. You know how it is. They just they look very similar. Although you could say that a lot of trains do look similar, but I don't know. It just gets real cookie cutter to me. And if those trains were actually built with purpose as well, then suddenly that makes them much more meaningful. And that's where I've always wanted to go for. Um, I mean, the good thing is the way Run 8 handles the industries. They actually block their trains pretty damn good. They don't do it so much in the others, but my issue before with the mini industries were more about getting the all those manifests from being cookie cutter to actually having things. Now, it's a different story when you have through traffic, because if you have through traffic and you don't want to deal with trying to make it look as real just for the sake of seeing a train passing by like eye candy, and trying to make it look real or anything. The reason why I went with the not the mini industries but the fake industries for Waycross was I wanted to generate realistic traffic levels, and I was succeeding, but I realized I was in over my head. Um, the good part about this is I think if for some reason the industry load is a little too high, I can dial it back just a bit. And I don't know I'd have to take a look at what the real industries look like. I think that's another thing, is what are they really like today? Are those industries served as much as they used to be, or some of them get very little service? Do they get, like once a week service type thing? that'll be interesting to see, especially if it's if it's stuff like I don't know. I'm gonna say tank farms, but there's just some stuff where they just store it and don't worry about it. Um, Enjoy the SGVX along the Bakersfield sub. Um, 6 grain facilities, yeah. I don't know. I'm still I it's if they could get just a little bit smaller than that, that'd be perfect. Even if it was just an attachment subdivision. I mean, Needles. The problem with Needles for me is Needles is boring as hell. And um, I mean, I can run a switching district out of Barstow technically. But if I run the Cadiz local, I'm gonna. I was even getting tired of doing the Mojave Flyer and trying to run that just on the Mojave sub, south of Mojave. That's just boring as hell. I didn't want to deal with that, so I was just like, meh. And then you got all these big ass areas like L.A. L.A. would have been really cool if there was a lot of people that like to run locals and shit, but LA never ever. All LA did, I think, LA was the beginning of realizing, we have issues, and I kind of knew that going into version 2. I was like, I was worried about LA coming out in version 2, and I was thinking to myself, okay, well, I know we got AI, but how the hell are we going to handle all this switching? How the hell are we going to build all these trains and all this other stuff? And I was just like, man, SVGX at Watco. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I gotta seriously think about it. It's, ugh, I don't know. I can't think of anything else though right now. I mean, I've been here. I've done this before. This is just an old habit. Um, I've never no Sligman. I don't even want to bother with that. What's the other one here? Maps. Hello. Uh, of course, it's got to be double track, double track. And I'm not a big fan of how the AI handles double track. Nah, not for me. I'm not a big person with double track, and I was looking at the what's the other one? Really, Fitzgerald kind of looked interesting, but that could be a bit of a challenge as well. Mohawk sub Selkirk, I've kind of stayed away from them for those various reasons. Um, yeah, Roseville sub we looked at. Obviously a hump. Yeah, it's just too much. Like, I mean, just looking at that right away, I just like, no. That's even more than Seligman. In fact, it is just based on the hump alone. So we're stuck with, and I know you can do partials and all that other crap Um, oops. Mojave sub. Mojave sub's interesting. It ended up Bakersfield a friggin' giant pain in the ass. It takes 24 hours just to do the SJVR stuff, I think. Um, Edison takes a while. A lot of switching involved there. But then when you're dealing with the grade, it's not so bad actually. It's a lot of fun to run it. It takes a while, especially on the big grades. Some of the speeds are a hell of a lot slower, so it takes a long time. I used to like running out of Mojave. I used to like going down, going to Hatchapee and then, doing the industries over here, I should say, and then running the turn to Tehachapi and Monolith and all that other stuff. It wasn't too bad. What was difficult was when you got into this the south end, and I don't know if this is. Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, this section right here, 385. And this will tell me a lot. I mean, there's a lot of mainline, but it's just like a lot of. I don't even know what the scenery. I don't even know what the hell the scenery is like on Bakersfield sub, to be quite honest. So 463. That's actually less. That's only 80 miles. Did I get that right? 385, 463. Wow, if 80 miles is getting to me. This is why ideally I'd like to go with something like 60 miles. And I know that sounds small, and I mean, yeah, it is. But they exist. I mean, they do exist. You look at the Niagara Corridor, if you look at my neck of the woods, they exist. They're Class 1 railroads. And you got you got your line up to London. You've got your Niagara line. You've got your Oakville sub. You got all those other subs that interconnect, but there's still switching districts within them. I mean, Jesus. But you can easily have a route to me that's smaller. But anyways, I'm just blabbing along as usual. Was there anything else that I'm missing? Any other particular routes? San Bernardino sub. No. Cajon sub, West Colton Yard. Cajon sub I like. But no. Maybe it'll be something else that comes out down the road that gets my attention. I just, it's not really doing it for me. Let's see. If you really want some easy switching, then Seligman is your route. Your modded DS panel. Which one? For Bakersfield? Yeah, somebody's gonna have to sell me on that. What's the scenery like? I imagine it's getting away from the deserty. Well, I don't know about that. Like, is it open, sparse? Can't be much. It's got to be pretty flat and farms, I would imagine, orchards type thing. Kind of like what it is above Sandcut, for the most part. Because once you're getting out of the mountains, you're getting into the orchards. Kind of flat, like yeah. Which then you get into. Let's see here. See, that kind of scenery gets my attention. For obvious reasons. This is what I'm really looking forward to. Route's kind of small, to be honest. But, and I'm not a big fan of Steam, but see, a lot of these are the same locations. But that's Railroader. And I haven't heard too much more, yeah, I wish they had a forum. It's too hard for me to follow this Discord. This Discord is pretty active. Although it's slowed down a little bit. So maybe the buzz has calmed down a bit. Who knows? Time is at 6:56, huh? It's kind of scenery to be where it is. Yeah. I don't know. But as I was saying, as far as bad habits, though, like, just I love. I mean, I wish my forum was more active. It's not. It's dead. I wish Train Sim forum was more active. It's not. It's dead. Um, this is my really. This is my only connection. And yeah, it's really. I would love to. I would love to just be able to take off all the distraction and be able to focus on shutting out shutting out the negativity, or shutting out the procrastination, shutting out the negativity, and starting to think, oh, what's going to happen, like, am I wasting my time, am I really going to get anywhere? Because honestly, these guys know a hell of a lot more than I do, as far as developing, and that's just the honest truth. And yeah, I come up with ideas and I come up with dreams and all this stuff, to the point where you got moderators who will mock you for it. But it's like, okay. I mean, we've been through that discussion before, and I'm not going to get into that again, but I don't know. Anyways, I'm just babbling along here. It's about 7 o'clock. I thought I would show those anyways, and um, hard to say. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I would love to go over the various what they really look like. Um, I think like as far as what Run 8's got. Okay, and I don't want to be a downer on Run 8 because, like I've said before, Run 8 is the best train simulator on the planet. It's once you're in a situation where you can't rely on the scenery. For me personally, the physics alone is not enough. Having great physics is great, but it only takes you so far, and then you're just running a train like any other train, except you're not looking out the window, like say for an American Truck Simulator, where you're actually seeing some cool looking scenery, or close to, at least closer to real life. It gets rather old, and that's where I'm really having a hard time attaching like what it is that is going to captivate me when I am immersed in, say, a medieval dynasty, for example. And there's been other ones. They don't always last as long as Run 8 has. And in fact, I don't know of anything that's going to keep me as long as that, because with Medieval Dynasty, I mean, it's got a lot of content for one game, but eventually it's going to get old too. Everything, I guess, gets old. We all do. But um, the thing is, I believe the variation and what I call the repeat playability is what really makes something, you know, not just worth investing. There's a lot of things worth investing in, but we're investing the time and the energy and to go in and go through all the files and trying to research an area and see what the trains are like, and where they switch. I there is a lot of, I mean, poor Scott. I had him do all, he offered to do it, obviously, but he spent all that time working on trying to get the stuff all set up for me, and then I realized not too long after it, when I started going, I was just like, okay, this ain't gonna work. This isn't. I'm over my head. And right then and there, I was just, that was the last time I touched Run 8, and it had nothing to do with Run 8 itself. It had nothing. I realized right then I was in over my head and I can't do it. And I needed, if I was going to run a server, I needed to know that that was going to be able to be handled. Otherwise, we're going back into this whole, BS 7-day cycles and all this other crap. All I wanted to do is run a 24-hour period when I'm on. I didn't want to run a 24/7 server. All I wanted to do was basically put the server up if I was active. That way we can keep an eye on the AI dispatching, make sure everything's, going okay with that. Plus, we'd be able to, continue to run whatever switchers or trains or main lines or whatever was needed. The same thing's going to happen with Railroader, because that's, of course, multiplayer as well. I am, some people are talking about putting servers up 24/7. I'm like, yeah, you can do that, but number one, there's a clock in there. I think they're talking about changing the settings so that it can actually stay 24 hours. Well, okay, well, what the hell are you going to do with 24 hours on 13 miles of track? Kind of boring. I don't know why I just keep saying no data. Just times out and then it catches up, I guess. But, I'm preaching to the choir at this point, so, And the choir's not that big, believe me. Um, but anyways, the conversation's kind of slowed down. I'm just babbling, so I'm going to end it here for now. Just thought I'd share this with you. And I like I said, as far as the bad habits go, the bad habit is what I'm doing right now, and it's like I said, it's my way of communicating. I wish I could do it with forums. I wish I could do it other ways. I don't know how to. I don't know how to reach out to my subscribers unless I do something that I may particularly not enjoy as much, which is a scary thought because where's the next step? And when you don't know what's going to happen, we don't know what's going to happen. We're like, yeah, okay, yeah, we got Easter eggs. We know something's coming, and but I just don't know what's coming on those. I don't know when they're coming. It's and then there's a reason why I guess there's a reason why they don't post dates, and they don't even announce that they're doing it, because they don't want to get anybody's hopes up, I suppose. But I like the Freight Yard style gameplay looks. I'd be very happy with an RTS style game along those lines. Well, thanks, Scott, and my son shares your sentiment, and I gotta really think about it. I mean maybe that's where I have to go, and I have to focus on that and just do it, I guess. Force myself to do it. Here's what I'd like to be able to do, in all honesty, I would love to be able to build something. I want to do 3D. My ultimate goal would be to do a 3D simulator. But having said that, just being able to start out by just having the track, not having anything else, just a track, kind of like how you start a model railroad. You just start out with the track, and you start out with you start out with the ability to switch cars and do other things. That shouldn't take too much. So I do have the data, and yeah, maybe I have to just get myself, listen to some music or something, and just keep me going, and try to and just try to motivate myself, but hopefully get it to a point where I can operate it and have fun as well in between, and still develop it. Ultimately, that I think might encourage me to continue to do things, and have enough of a beta team that, or early access or whatever. Obviously, that'd probably be beta at that point. Actually, I don't give a rat's ass, because I'm probably doing it shareware. I think I'm going to go the same route that Freight Yard Manager did. I'm not even going to try to make any money off of it. And if I get donations and I get other things, great. If I don't, well, who cares? If it leads to getting my confidence up in programming and I learn more things along the way, or, who knows, maybe I just get distracted and some other simulator comes out that just gets my attention, like Railroader or whatever. And that's kind of what distracts me, is I know Railroader's coming. So do I want to put all that effort in now, and all of a sudden, Railroader captivates me? But I don't know if Railroader's going to keep me that long. I just don't. I don't know if it has the legs. I mean, they can expand, they can do all kinds of things, but who knows? Anyways, we'll see what happens. But guys, try to keep me motivated, because I'm having a hard time motivating myself. That's all. I mean, if that's one thing I can ask from my community, try to help me, keep me motivated. Check out my forums, keep the communication going, keep the Discord going. those are the type of things that make me feel like I have community still, or I have, friendships out there in the online world. Because otherwise, I feel like I'm all alone. And I know I'm not alone. I got my son. I got my family. I'm not really alone. I work all day. I'm surrounded, by colleagues at work. I'm not lonely. This isn't a lonely thing. What I'm talking about is the motivation when I have that spare time. Because honestly, I've been starting to get into those habits again where 9 o'clock, my son goes upstairs at 9 o'clock at night. I just go to sleep. I just go on the couch, like I'll already be dozing off on the couch when he's down here as it is, and I just keep on sleeping. I wouldn't care because I was just like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't want to really do anything in this next 2 hours. That's depressing, but I don't like it. I used to love it where I would get the streams going. I would do something. I would feel engaged. I just don't know if I can feel engaged right now in Run 8, where how I feel, unfortunately. So, but I'll see what I can do. That's all I can say. I'm not going to promise anything. I won't promise anything. I'm not going to post crap on Train Sim or anything like that. And, you know, people have a point. I mean, how many times can you say, that you have ideas? I mean, actually, I shouldn't beat myself up. All I did was say I had ideas. I didn't say I was going to do it. So, I don't know. I don't know if I can do it. I have my doubts, but we'll see. Anyways, guys, thanks for the support as always. Keep in touch. I want to back off on these YouTube videos because it's getting depressing. I mean, not that having this conversation is depressing me. It's not. It's getting depressing going over the same things. It feels like Groundhog Day, if you will. And I want to get back to where if I'm going to produce content, I want to have the content where it's just like where I'm positive, just like I used to be. And you know what I'd be like, and when I was in the mood and things were going good, and I had goals and you could tell I was enjoying myself. Right now, I'm just like I'm kind of in limbo. I don't know what the hell to expect. My son knows about this too. He knows how I'm feeling. He says he knows how I feel. He feels the same way some days. So it's just like, well. But I don't know. Anyways, that's it for now. Enough of the rambling. I'm going to try to do something else for next little bit. Have a good one. We'll talk to you later. See ya.